Hello and welcome to my first part of teaching retroblasting a lesson. First of all, Michael, I'm really inconsolable that your report of myself on Twitter did not have the success you had in mind. But as I told you, teaching somebody a lesson does not necessarily involve physical violence. Even though you got a lot of agreement from your really charming acolytes, I'm sorry, but in that case the non-native speaker was right, as at least a quick research on Google uncovered. Now, that is not the first time you misinterpreted something, and apparently you haven't figured out that analysis comes before interpretation. That's why you also misunderstood a lot in the past. Here's an example for that.
Sonny, thank you for the super chat. He says the idea for the virus in the last movie was taken from the first Uncharted. No collector's edition of the 2013 reboot. That was the best one. This is the definitive edition. It says definitive edition, Sonny. Why do you always got to make a thing out of a thing? You're always just being that way. That's why people are sick of you.
So this super chat was not intended to in any way demean you. In fact, I think you are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Tomb Raider fan I have ever seen. I, for myself, I only played the games and I enjoyed most of them, also the reboot. Yeah, now I only wanted to point you towards that a collector's edition, which could have been a fine addition to your collection, since I mean most game collector's editions are pretty boring and bland, but this one had had a lot of things to offer, like the very nice steel box, the action figure, the small art book, and you could find all of that on eBay sometimes for only like $50, while the figure itself, the usual PlayArts Kai box, costs 80 plus used. And in case you do not take my word for it, just check out Chasing Eddie's Toys Collector's Showcase Part 11 with Antonio Vistcotis. He presented his very nice Star Wars collection, and at the end of it he showed off his SH Figure Arts Star Wars figures. And in the comment section I asked him if he knew about the PlayArts Kai Star Wars figures, which he apparently did not. And he was actually quite positive about this hint. Unfortunately, some of the comments are gone now because they included external links. Somehow they were tolerated for a while, then they were gone. Guess because of those links. YouTube's policy is getting more and more strict regarding that, but they were there, and Antonio's responses still are there. But let's cut to the chase. On one of my videos, you placed something on the comments section. Unfortunately, I deleted the screenshot and the video I put on private, so then the comments are no longer there. They have been erased. But you certainly remember your remark about America 2, Germany 0. Well, I guess that wasn't about any soccer game, but refers to the First and the Second World War. The first thing I would like to ask you is, what do I have to do with these? Or are you one of those people who say that there's somehow some kind of an innate guilt to people, or that I would be of the same mindset as the National Socialists, which by the way weren't around in World War I, they came in World War II. And if you knew anything about history actually, then you know that World War I wasn't actually the fault of the Germans. They had a partial guilt, if at all, but that's about it. So I would like to know, what shall I do with that? Like, is it, am I supposed to consider myself a loser because Germany lost 2 wars, or is that why I should be silenced or something? I don't know. But I have another question for you. So, as far as I know, you live in the state of Georgia. have you originated, or were you born in Georgia, or did you relocate to Georgia? You know that Georgia is, or had been, one of the Confederate states back in the day, before the Civil War. So, do you consider yourself a slaver when you consider me being, one of those National Socialists? If you do. Also, the Confederates lost the war, the Civil War. Do you consider yourself a loser then too? And if you think that doesn't apply because you come from a northern state originally, do you think that applies to the other inhabitants of Georgia? Are they slavers or losers? And if your argument is that this is too long ago, well, when does inherited guilt expire? After 100 years? 200? Is there actually something like inherited guilt? Do you realize now how immature your remark was? Well, I guess not. That's why this is only part 1. It will take a bit of time before part 2 arrives, but in the meantime, I have a question for you, or maybe a small riddle. In order to buy all the slaves in the States their freedom, it would have cost the States $5 billion. That was a lot of money back in the day. $5 billion to buy all the slaves in America their freedom. Now, the war itself, the Civil War, had cost $11 billion, so more than twice as much. So do you know why? And you could say the economists know of the cost back in the day. Why still it was chosen to go to war? The answer is not because they could, or the idea that Abraham Lincoln wanted to preserve the Union. You have to dig deeper. See you soon.